Hold on for a moment, because what you are feeling is not in your imagination. That strange ache in your chest. That pull you cannot explain. That sense that someone, somewhere, is thinking of you just as intensely as you think of them. It is real. And tonight, you need to understand something few people ever realize in time. Your soulmate has wanted to reach for you far more than you know. But something has been standing in the way. Not because they do not care. Not because they forgot you. Not because your connection was false. No. They are being held back for a reason that may change how you see everything. Because some souls do not enter your life the moment you desire them. They enter only when the entire path around them has been rearranged. Pause and think carefully. Have you ever wondered why someone can feel destined for you, yet remain just beyond your reach? Why the signs appear? Why the dreams intensify? Why the energy between you grows stronger? Yet still, silence remains? It is because this connection was never ordinary. Ordinary people meet casually. Ordinary attraction comes and goes. But when two souls are meant to transform one another, life itself intervenes. And what is keeping them from you right now is not punishment. It is preparation. Because the truth is, your soulmate is still becoming the person capable of loving you properly. Let that sink in. They may care for you deeply already. They may feel your presence in quiet moments. They may replay memories, signs, dreams, and coincidences, wondering why they cannot stop thinking of you. Yet something inside them still trembles. Because loving you will require them to rise beyond who they have been. And not everyone evolves quickly. Some people must first lose what distracts them. Some must first watch false relationships collapse. Some must first face betrayal, disappointment, loneliness, or the emptiness of chasing the wrong life, before they are ready to recognize what is real. This is why they have not arrived yet. Not because they are absent. Because they are being awakened. And here is the part few will tell you. They may be resisting this connection even now. Yes. Your soulmate may feel drawn toward you with terrifying intensity. Yet keep running from that pull because it scares them. Because when a connection is shallow, it feels easy, comfortable, predictable. But when a connection is soul deep, it changes everything. It threatens old habits, old identities, old attachments, old illusions. And many people delay what is meant for them, simply because transformation feels frightening before it feels beautiful. So while you wonder why they have not reached out, they may be in the middle of the greatest internal battle of their life, trying to understand why no one else feels like you, trying to explain why your energy lingers in their thoughts, trying to ignore the invisible force pulling them back toward your path. But there is more. Listen closely. Sometimes what keeps your soulmate from reaching you is not internal fear. It is the life around them. Responsibilities. Family expectations. Distance. Commitments they no longer want but have not yet escaped. Circumstances that must collapse before freedom can emerge. And from your perspective, it looks like delay. But from a higher perspective, it is divine timing in motion. Because if they came to you too early, They would mishandle what was meant to last. If they arrived before healing, they would love you through wounds. If they arrived before awakening, they would choose fear over connection. If they arrived before truth found them, they might meet you, and still fail to recognize your worth. So understand this clearly. Delay is not denial. Silence is not absence. Distance is not disconnection. Sometimes the universe protects sacred things by keeping them apart, until both hearts can hold what they prayed for. And perhaps the most surprising truth of all: they are not the only one being prepared. You are too. Because while you wait for them, you are learning patience. While you question the silence, you are learning trust. While you long for what has not arrived, you are becoming the version of yourself capable of receiving it without fear. What if this waiting season was never empty? What if every lonely night, every unanswered question, every moment of wondering when, was shaping you into someone unshakable? Because when this connection finally unfolds, it will not arrive as fantasy. It will arrive as certainty. You will know. They will know. And all the confusion that once haunted you will suddenly make sense. But not yet. Not before the lesson is complete. Not before the final walls fall. Not before the soul who belongs beside you finds the courage to step through the fire that is changing them. So if your heart has been restless lately, if their energy has felt closer, if your intuition whispers that movement is happening behind the scenes, trust it. Something is shifting. Something is breaking. Something is ending in their world, so that something greater can begin in yours. And when they finally reach for you, you will understand why they could not come sooner. Because what is delayed by destiny returns with power. And what is meant for you does not disappear. It prepares. But wait. Because the next truth about what is happening behind their silence is even deeper than this. And once you hear it, you may never see their absence the same way again. And yet, what if the silence is not only about timing? What if the real reason your soulmate has not reached out goes deeper than circumstance, deeper than fear, deeper than unfinished healing? Because there is another truth hidden beneath all of this. One that changes the entire story. Sometimes your soulmate is kept from you because they are still entangled in the final test, meant to reveal who they truly are. Read that again in your spirit. Not every delay is about distance. Some delays exist because character must be proven before destiny is unlocked. Your soulmate may be standing at a crossroads right now, facing choices they do not even realize are determining whether they are ready for you. They may be surrounded by people who drain them, tempted by comfort that keeps them small, pulled toward distractions that mimic happiness but leave them empty. And life is watching. Because before someone is entrusted with a rare connection, they are often asked one final question. Will you remain who you have always been? Or will you become who love requires? That is the battle your person may be fighting in secret. On the outside, they may appear normal, busy, distracted, unbothered. But internally, they are unraveling. They are beginning to see through false friendships, false priorities, false versions of themselves. Things they once chased no longer satisfy them. Places they once fit into now feel foreign. Conversations they once enjoyed now sound empty. Why? Because the closer someone gets to a destined connection, the less their old life can hold them. That discomfort they feel, that restlessness, that sudden dissatisfaction with everything around them, it is not random. It is the soul recognizing that the life they built can no longer contain the future calling them. And this is where many become afraid. Because transformation sounds beautiful in theory, until it starts dismantling everything familiar. So your soulmate may be hesitating not because they do not want you, but because reaching for you means leaving behind the version of themselves they have outgrown. That is never easy. Sometimes they know the moment they contact you, their life will begin changing rapidly. Masks will fall. Truths will surface. Old cycles will end. And deep down, they understand this. Which is why they pause at the threshold. They feel you like a doorway. Not just to romance, but to an entirely different life. And some people stand outside that doorway longer than necessary. Because they know once they walk through, nothing will ever be the same again. If this message resonates with your spirit, take a moment to comment below. What is meant for me will find me. Sometimes declaring it out loud reminds your heart of what your mind forgets. And if this journey has spoken to you, stay connected. There is more unfolding than you realize. Now hear this carefully. Their silence may have made you question your worth. It may have made you wonder if you imagine the connection, if you misread the signs, if perhaps they simply do not care enough. But do not let temporary silence rewrite eternal truth. Someone can be deeply drawn to you and still be too unprepared to approach you. Someone can love your energy and still fear the change your presence demands. Someone can recognize your value and still need time to become brave enough to stand beside it. That is not rejection. That is unfinished evolution. And while they evolve, you must not shrink yourself waiting. Do not pause your life. Do not dim your light. Do not place your joy on hold for someone still finding their courage. Because here is the paradox most never understand. The more fully you step into your own life, the stronger this connection becomes. Why? Because soulmate energy responds to alignment. The more you embody confidence, peace, purpose, self-respect, the more impossible it becomes for the right person to ignore you. You do not attract your soulmate by chasing them. You attract them by becoming magnetic to what is meant for you. And perhaps that is why this delay has lasted longer than expected. Not to hurt you, not to tease you, but to teach both of you how to meet each other whole, instead of wounded. Because broken people may fall in love quickly, but whole people build something lasting. So while you wonder when they will speak, ask yourself a deeper question. Who are you becoming while they prepare? Because when this moment arrives, when the silence breaks, when they finally gather the courage to step forward, They will not meet the old version of you. They will meet the one forged by waiting, strengthened by uncertainty, refined by trust, radiant with self-knowing. And that version of you? That is the one they were always meant to find. But there is still one final reason they have not reached out. The hidden force behind everything. The truth that explains why the connection has intensified right before contact. And when you hear it, you may realize the moment you've been waiting for is closer than it has ever been. And now, here is the truth few are prepared to hear. Sometimes your soulmate goes silent, right before they finally come forward. Yes. The quiet often grows deepest just before everything changes. Because the final reason they have been kept from reaching out is this. They are nearing the moment of decision. Not curiosity. Not confusion. Decision. There comes a point in every destined connection when the running becomes heavier than the reaching. When pretending no longer works. When the heart grows too loud to ignore. And your person may be standing at that edge now. Think about it. Why has their energy felt stronger lately? Why have memories surfaced out of nowhere? Why has your intuition refused to let this connection go? Even when logic told you to move on. Because something is building. The invisible distance between you is thinning. The version of them that once hesitated is beginning to crack beneath the weight of truth. They are realizing that avoiding you has not erased what they feel. Distraction did not erase it. Distance did not erase it. Time did not erase it. If anything, it made the connection louder. Because some people only understand the depth of what they feel after trying everything to escape it. And that is where your soulmate may be now. At the end of their resistance. At the moment where they can no longer deny that no one else reaches their heart the way you do. No one else lingers in their thoughts like you. No one else mirrors their soul like you. No one else awakens the part of them that was asleep before your presence touched their life. And when someone realizes that, they change. Suddenly pride matters less. Fear matters less. Excuses matter less. Because losing what is real becomes more frightening than risking vulnerability. That is when contact happens. Unexpectedly. Suddenly. At the hour you stop trying to predict. A message. A call. A meeting. A confession. A moment that begins like any other. And then changes everything. But before that moment comes, one final lesson remains for you. Do not greet their arrival from desperation. Greet it from power. Let them meet you centered, not starving. Peaceful, not pleading. Certain, not chasing. Because the strongest soulmate connections are not built when one person waits helplessly for the other. They are built when both arrive having learned their worth. So if they come to you soon, and many signs suggest they will, receive them with wisdom. Listen beyond their words. Feel beyond the fantasy. Recognize whether their transformation is real. Because destiny may bring two people together. But maturity determines whether they stay together. Do not accept almost. Do not romanticize bare minimum effort. Do not confuse delayed arrival with permission for half-hearted love. If they are truly your person, they will not merely appear. They will arrive ready. Ready to speak clearly. Ready to choose boldly. Ready to stop hiding what they feel. Ready to build what once only existed in silence. And when that happens, you will look back at every painful night of waiting and understand why none of it was wasted. The unanswered questions, the aching uncertainty, the long seasons of wondering, all of it was shaping the story. For the exact moment two prepared souls finally meet, without fear standing between them. So hold this truth close. Your soulmate is not forgetting you. They are not lost to you. They are moving through the final layers of what once kept them from your side. And when those walls collapse, when their fear gives way to courage, when timing opens the door that once stayed shut, they will reach for you. Not vaguely. Not halfway. Not in confusion. But with clarity. Because what is meant for you may take time to arrive. Yet when it does, it often comes all at once. So remain steady. Remain open. Remain ready. The silence was never the end of the story. It was the space before the turning point. And when they finally step forward, you will understand this was not delay. It was destiny building the perfect moment for two paths to become one. And when that moment comes, neither of you will ever be the same again. But listen carefully, because the story does not end when they reach out. In many ways, that is only where the real journey begins. Because when two souls who were kept apart by timing, fear, and transformation finally stand face to face, the meeting is powerful. But the recognition is even stronger. You will feel it before words are spoken. An unfamiliar calm. A strange sense of remembering someone you are only just meeting again. A quiet in your spirit that says, there you are. It was always you. And they will feel it too. That is why their arrival may not look dramatic at first. It may begin simply. A conversation. A message sent after hesitation. A moment that appears ordinary to everyone else. Yet inside both of you, something ancient will awaken. Because true soul recognition rarely arrives with noise. It arrives with certainty. But here is what many never expect. When your soulmate finally comes forward, the emotions may overwhelm them more than they overwhelm you. Why? Because while you have been sensing this connection for some time, they may only now be fully understanding what it means. To them, it will feel like the world has shifted overnight. Suddenly they will want answers. Suddenly they will crave your presence. Suddenly they will wonder how they ever lived with this distance between you. And yes, they may even regret the time they lost. Regret the silence. Regret the hesitation. Regret the moments fear convinced them to wait. But do not punish them for becoming ready later than you hoped. Some souls awaken slower than others. What matters is not how long it took them to arrive. What matters is whether they arrive transformed. Because late truth is still truth. And when you see their effort match their words. When you feel consistency where once there was silence. When their actions finally reflect the depth of what you always sensed. That is when you will know. The waiting was worth it. If this message has been speaking directly to your journey, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And if you've stayed this far, subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Some messages find people exactly when they are meant to. Now hear this final warning of the heart. Do not let old pain make you distrust new alignment. Many people pray for love, then sabotage it when it finally arrives, because they have grown too comfortable with disappointment. Do not mistake unfamiliar peace for lack of passion. Do not mistake healthy consistency for boredom. Do not mistake emotional safety for weakness. Real love often feels different than the chaos people are used to. It feels grounded, steady, clear. And after all this waiting, you may need to remind yourself: you do not have to chase what has chosen you. You do not have to beg for what is aligned. You do not have to convince what is meant to stay. Your soulmate's arrival will not feel like confusion. It will feel like peace entering the room, after years of noise. And when they finally stand before you, honest, ready, and certain, you will realize they were never being kept from you forever. They were being refined for you, prepared, awakened, reshaped by life itself, until they could meet you at your level. That is the reason behind the silence. That is the secret behind the delay. That is why your heart kept whispering, "Wait, something bigger is happening." Because it was. Even now, paths are shifting. Choices are being made. Walls are falling where you cannot yet see. And somewhere in this world, the one who belongs beside you is getting closer to the moment. They stop resisting what their soul has known all along. So when they come, do not ask why it took so long. Smile. Because some arrivals are so life-changing. They require the universe to prepare both hearts first. And yours is almost ready to collide with the love that was always trying to find its way home. And when that collision happens, when the waiting ends and their presence is no longer a mystery, you will begin to understand something profound. The separation was never only about bringing them to you. It was about revealing you to yourself. Because before this connection could become real in the outer world, it had to awaken something within you first. Strength you did not know you carried. Patience you never thought you would learn. Discernment that now protects your heart. Standards that no longer allow temporary people to occupy permanent space. That is the hidden gift of every sacred delay. It transforms the one who waits. And perhaps that is why, when your soulmate finally stands before you, you will not greet them as the same person who once cried over their silence. No. You will greet them as someone wiser. Someone calmer. Someone who no longer mistakes longing for love, or chemistry for destiny. You will have learned the difference between being chosen out of convenience and being chosen with certainty. That lesson alone will change the way you receive them. Because when they finally come, you will not cling. You will observe. You will not rush. You will listen. You will let their consistency reveal their truth. And that is powerful. Because your soulmate may have once been kept from reaching out. But once they do, they will sense immediately that you are no longer the version of yourself who would accept confusion. They will see your growth. They will feel your boundaries. They will recognize the quiet confidence that only waiting can build. And strangely, that will make them love you even more. Because nothing is more magnetic than someone who remained open-hearted, without becoming desperate, hopeful without becoming naive, patient without losing themselves. That is who you are becoming. Not merely someone waiting for love, but someone worthy of the kind of love that changes everything it touches. And when this relationship begins to unfold, do not be surprised if it moves faster than expected. After long periods of silence, destined things often accelerate suddenly. The person who hesitated for months may suddenly speak every day. The one who once kept distance may suddenly seek closeness. The one who feared vulnerability may begin confessing truths they never planned to reveal. Why? Because once resistance breaks, suppressed emotion rushes forward all at once. It will feel like the floodgates opened, like the universe whispered, "Now." And in that season, remember this. Let it unfold naturally. Do not force what is already flowing. Do not control what is already aligned. Do not overthink what your soul recognizes. Some things are meant to be analyzed. Others are meant to be experienced. Love like this, real, prepared, soul-deep love, must be lived, not dissected. So if your heart has been sensing movement, if your dreams have become more vivid, if their energy feels nearer than before, if your spirit keeps whispering, something is coming, trust that whisper. Because many people ignore intuition right before the breakthrough arrives. But not you. You have stayed through the silence. You have endured the uncertainty. You have grown through the waiting. And now? You stand at the edge of a new chapter. One where absence becomes presence. One where longing becomes reality. One where unanswered questions become undeniable truth. So prepare your heart. Not for more waiting. For arrival. Because the one who was once being kept from you is learning how to break through every barrier. And soon, very soon, they may no longer be able to stay silent. Even if they try. The heart can only hide destiny for so long, before destiny demands to be seen. And yours is closer than ever. And when that moment finally arrives, when the silence breaks and destiny speaks through their voice, everything will become clear. Not gradually, not vaguely, but all at once. You will understand why every almost relationship failed. Why every false start collapsed. Why every person who was not meant for you could never stay. Because none of them were the destination. They were lessons. Detours. Preparations. They taught you what love is not. So you would recognize what love truly is. The moment it stands before you. And when your soulmate finally reaches out, you may notice something unexpected. It will feel less like the beginning of something new, and more like the return of something ancient. As if your soul has known them long before this lifetime of waiting. As if every longing you carried was quietly preparing you to recognize them. That is why the meeting will feel different. No games. No guessing. No wondering where you stand. Because when two people have been prepared through distance, they do not waste time pretending. They speak honestly. They love intentionally. They value the connection. Because they understand what it took to reach it. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all. They will know they almost lost you. They will know their delay nearly cost them the chance to stand before the one their heart was always moving toward. That realization will humble them. It will make them cherish what others might take for granted. It will make them protect the bond they once feared. It will make them choose with greater care. Because they know rare things are not guaranteed twice. So when they finally tell you what they feel, and they will, listen carefully. Not only to their words, but to the transformation behind them. You will hear the maturity in their voice, the certainty in their tone, the emotional honesty that only comes after someone has stopped running from themselves. That is when you will know. The person who once could not reach you is no longer the same person. They have changed. And so have you. That is why the reunion will work now, when it could not have worked before. Because timing is not just about calendars. It is about readiness. Two souls can be perfect for one another, and still need time before they can hold the weight of what they were meant to build. But now, the waiting is ending. The preparation is nearing completion. The chapter of silence is closing. And the story you thought was delayed is actually beginning exactly when it was meant to. So lift your head. Keep your heart open. Continue becoming the person this love deserves to meet. Because somewhere between their fear and their awakening, between your patience and your growth, between the delay and the destiny, a reunion is being written. One so powerful, it will make every unanswered night feel worthwhile. And when it happens, when they finally stand before you, heart open, walls lowered, truth undeniable, you will not remember the wait as suffering. You will remember it as the season that made the miracle possible. Because what is meant for you does not vanish in silence. It gathers strength in the unseen until the perfect moment arrives to step fully into your life. And that moment, my beloved child, is nearer than it has ever been before. And when that day arrives, when the distance between you disappears for good, you will finally see the full picture. You will understand that every delay, every unanswered prayer, every moment you thought nothing was happening, was movement hidden beneath the surface. Because destiny rarely announces itself while it is being built. It works in silence, in shadows, in seasons where nothing seems to change, until suddenly, everything does. And your soulmate will stand before you, carrying the truth they once could not express. They will tell you how often they thought of you. How many times they almost reached out. How many nights they fought their own fear. How deeply your presence lingered, even when distance separated your lives. And in that moment, you will realize this connection was never one-sided. You were not imagining it. You were not hoping for something unreal. You were sensing a bond that existed long before words ever confirmed it. That knowing inside you? That quiet refusal to give up on what your spirit kept feeling? It was not foolishness. It was recognition. Because sometimes the heart perceives truth long before the mind can explain it. And when they finally confess everything, do not be surprised if emotion overtakes both of you. Not because this is merely romance, but because reunion after waiting always carries a kind of sacred intensity. It feels like surviving a storm, only to find the sun was waiting the entire time. And from that day forward, the relationship will carry a depth that only delayed love can create. You will value each other differently, protect each other differently, love each other with the awareness that real things are rare. Because people who nearly miss destiny never take destiny lightly again. So if you are still in the waiting right now, still wondering, still hoping, still feeling the ache of their absence, hear this one final time. Their silence was not the end. Their delay was not rejection. Their distance was not proof against the connection. It was the road they had to walk before they could meet you fully. And now that road is nearly complete. Very soon, what was hidden will be revealed. What was felt will be spoken. What was delayed will move. The hand that once hesitated will reach. The heart that once feared will open. The soul that once ran will return. And when it does, do not greet it with bitterness for the lost time. Greet it with gratitude that what was meant for you found its way despite every obstacle. Because that is the power of real alignment. It survives confusion. It survives distance. It survives delay. It survives fear. What belongs with you will cross every barrier until it stands where it was always meant to stand, beside you. So walk forward with peace now. Not because the waiting was easy, but because the ending will make sense of it all. The silence is breaking. The distance is closing. The story is turning. And the soulmate who was once being kept from reaching you is almost home. And when they are finally home, when the searching ends and the distance is no more, a new truth will reveal itself to you. The love you waited for will not simply comfort your heart. It will transform your life. Because some people enter your world to accompany your story, but soulmates enter to alter it. Their arrival will shift your routines, your priorities, your vision of the future. Things that once mattered will suddenly seem small. Dreams you nearly abandoned will return to life. Parts of you that stayed hidden for years will begin to awaken simply because someone finally sees them clearly. That is what real alignment does. It does not merely give affection. It expands identity. And your soulmate will not love you for the mask you wear in public, for the version of you others found easiest to understand, for the polished fragments you showed the world. They will love the parts of you you thought were too deep, too intense, too different to be fully accepted. The quiet side, the emotional side, the visionary side, the wounded side still learning to trust. And being loved in that way will heal places inside you you stopped talking about long ago. But hear this carefully. Healing through love is not the same as depending on love. Your soulmate is not arriving to complete you. They are arriving to walk beside the wholeness you built in their absence. That is why this connection will feel balanced. Two complete people. Two awakened hearts. Two souls who learned how to stand alone before learning how to stand together. That is rare. That is powerful. That is why what is coming will not resemble the unstable connections of your past. It will be deeper, calmer, stronger, and perhaps for the first time in your life, love will stop feeling like something you must fight to keep. Because when the right person arrives ready, love stops feeling like survival. It starts feeling like peace. So if part of you still fears disappointment, if part of you still wonders whether this is truly possible for you, if part of you is afraid to hope too much, remember this. You did not come this far through confusion, waiting, growth, and transformation, just to receive another temporary lesson. No. What is approaching now carries permanence. Not perfection, but permanence. A love willing to stay, to work, to communicate, to choose each other again and again, even when life becomes difficult. Because the greatest proof of soulmate love is not intensity. It is devotion. And that devotion is forming now, inside the person once kept from your reach. So trust what your heart has been sensing. Trust the movement you cannot yet see. Trust the strange calm rising in your spirit lately. It is the calm that comes when your soul knows the waiting season is ending. Very soon, you will stop wondering if they will come. Very soon, you will stop asking for signs. Very soon, what once felt distant will stand directly in front of you. Real, undeniable, and ready. And when that happens, you will smile at the memory of every night you questioned whether love would ever find you. Because it was finding you all along. Slowly. Carefully. Perfectly. Guiding both of you through separate storms. So that when you finally met beneath clear skies, neither of you would take the other for granted. So this is not the end of your story. It is the final page. Before the chapter changes forever. And the one who was once kept from reaching you is no longer being held back. They are coming.